Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Nerd News. And today we have some more aggressive labor cuts in the industry. Destiny, one of the top 5 most profit-generating games of June 2024, has laid off another 222 people from their staff. This is in part as part of a not collaborative, but like as an ongoing effort to incorporate more of Bungie within Sony. This is a turnaround from what Bungie had previously said, that they were going to be more autonomous, akin to, Ben and Jerry's having more control over their business, even though they are owned by a corporate master. But I digress. That doesn't seem to be the case. Many developers have been there have been a good chunk of developers, at least 100, that have been fired wholesale, or rather, the 222 positions have been fired wholesale. Others, like 75, have been reappropriated into new roles, and a further 150 have been incorporated into Sony Entertainment proper, broadly. This is on the wake of, their previous expansion before the final shape doing, let's be perfectly frank here, abysmally on release. Last Light may have had some interesting new mechanics, but by and large was ultimately a narrative flop by many accounts. Now, let's just talk briefly about the fact that, if we're being patently honest, this is kind of probably going to be the end of Destiny soon. Like, I'm not saying that they're going to announce it after this, but Destiny 2 is on the way out. It is very much a game that is on life support. The actual development of the game itself is not, unfortunately, despite generating a stupid amount of money through in-game microtransactions and, even sales themselves being poignant. Just to quote, this is despite microtransactions doing rather well. To quote Thor from Pirate Software, StarCraft 2 expansions, Beacon's Delivery or whatever the fuck it was called, generated less money than a $15, mount for World of Warcraft. It's just, brass tacks of it, they are generating a stupid amount of money. The problem is the profit margins are not high enough. Destiny is a beautiful, verbose game that requires constant, ongoing development because it is functionally an MMO light. And, it doesn't, unlike things like the Elder Scrolls Online, Final Fantasy XIV, RuneScape, games that have a certain level of horizontal progression and previous content that is still very much playable and even enjoyable in some cases, even though they've been out for years. Destiny, unfortunately, doesn't do that. It kind of forces you to engage in the most recent content, and as somebody who has who played Forsaken and before they vaulted it, and way back in the day, and who has tried to come back to enjoy Destiny as a free-to-play player, essentially, who doesn't want to buy the new expansions. The game is essentially unenjoyable and unplayable. For a new or returning player, it is only good for the current people that are currently playing it, in my personal experience, and I think that we are very much witnessing the Destiny 2 kind of going on life support mode. I think with Bungie essentially being decimated, practically decimated here, I think what will ultimately happen from here is, if Bungie is able to and Sony doesn't interfere, they will sort of go back. They will do some timey-wimey bullshit to You know, make it so previous content can be redone and be harder. They might go back and make it so like when a new player goes through, they go through each expansion that comes out in order when they buy the most recent edition up until like the new stuff in the end. So you see all of it, everything basically happening in order. You know, maybe doing some toned down raids or what the fuck ever to sort of like, or like to make a tournament to like one person strikes or things of that nature, like adding all of the raids and stuff to the game, to like a thing that you can just do with your friends randomly, you know, kind of put the game on life support long term, you know, adding maybe some new battle passes here and there, you know, some new cosmetics, but ostensibly no new content. There might be some new tooling for PvP, some new tooling for some PvE stuff, but, you know, they're not doing any new big expansions, and they're kind of putting the game on life support, which is kind of where I see this going over the next couple of years. The final shape was, you know, it was the last big hurrah. It was the end game. It was like your Avengers Endgame. It was, I think that it is going to be a place where a lot of people do kind of hop off at this point, because, you know, it's Destiny is Destiny. I've talked at length about Destiny 2 and how on paper it is exactly the exact type of game that I would be in love with. It is a looter shooter. It is a MMO. It is a lore and narratively deep game in terms of like the wider world that you're a part of, and it just, to me personally, fails on all of these fronts, and it's very sad. I would love to love Destiny 2, but I just can't. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much for listening. If you want to hang out and join the community, please consider doing so at HIMedia.gg/Discord. You can get our Discord links from there. Thank you so very much for listening. I appreciate you, your time, and your listenership. Tips can be donated at the same URL, HIMedia.gg/tip. And we will see you guys next time.